UFC 322 preliminary card. What really happened? Let's talk about it. Now, I was all ready to go live, but unfortunately, we found out we needed 50 subscribers to go live. So, super thankful for everybody who subscribed out there. And thanks for my first comment. Absolutely amazing. Brought a tear to my eye. I'm going to be honest. So, I was all ready to go. I had my pinstripe suit picked out. I can't tell if I was ready for a New York card or I look like I'm going to a funeral. But nevertheless, let's get right into the preliminary card and break down what happened. The first fight of the prelims was Wellmaker against who was supposed to be Haddon, got scrapped. Ethan Ewing stepped in. Man, what a performance. Ethan Ewing really stepped up his game. Debut in the UFC, that's how you bring the heat, baby. Wellmaker, on the other hand, he came out looking real calm. He looked real ready. He was calculating distance. He was a big fan favorite in New York, but Ewing, with all the momentum that he was able to create throughout the fight, he was really able to impress the crowd and kind of quiet them throughout the night. He really had all of the moments. I felt like early in the fight with Wellmaker's calm demeanor that he was gonna be able to kind of turn it on and show me something impressive, but really it never happened. Ewing was able to control the pace of the entire fight. He stayed really busy. He was pushing him up against the fence. He was controlling the distance. To be honest, Ewing really dictated how that fight was going to happen. So Wellmaker, unfortunately, lost a tough decision. The judges had it pretty close on the scorecards, but to be honest, I felt like Ewing kind of dominated that fight. And I loved his post fight press conference as well with Joe Rogan. He just really seemed to be in the moment, and I super enjoy things like that. There was a lot happening in this fight. But overall, what I took away from this is that Ewing really dogged it out. It was an impressive debut against an undefeated with 48 hours notice. Man, that's real fight shit right there. So at the end of the day, I'm super stoked and high on Ewing. Let's see what he's capable of doing now that he's debuted with a successful W against an undefeated fighter in the UFC. Absolutely amazing. Moving into the next fight of the prelims, we had Cortez against Blanchfield. First of all, dope hair on Cortez. Like, the hair looked really good. The eyelashes were really long. So those were the two things that I was noticing immediately. Sometimes the ladies' fights, I get distracted and I tend to pay a little less attention. I think maybe that's what happened during this fight. It wasn't exactly a barn burner, but Blanchfield really was able to, after the first round, Tracy Cortez came out looking pretty decent on the feet, kind of controlling the dynamic way that the fight was unfolding. But eventually Blanchfield was able to get to her wrestling, dominate the wrestling exchanges, and finish by a rear naked choke in round 2. So Blanchfield, obviously the UFC is very high on her, and I think she's going to be really pushed into the forefront. They were talking about her facing the winner of Zhang against Shevchenko. So let's see how that pans out in the near future here. But round 2, rear naked choke, easy work. Moving right into the next fight, we had Kopylov against Rodriguez. Now, I had picked Kopylov in this fight. I thought he was going to be able to make something happen with some dynamic lateral movement. But, originally what I said in the breakdown of the fight is Gregor Rodriguez's size really dominated the factors in this fight. Gregor Rodriguez had all the moments. He was throwing big bombs. I'd say it was a close round one, but I'm going to give slight edge to Rodriguez basically just because of the bombs and like the amount of damage that he can actually elicit when he's landing compared to Kopylov. Kopylov obviously a lot lighter in the body. And was not able to overcome the power of Gregor Rodriguez. New York was loving, Rodriguez. There was a lot of RoboCop chants. It wasn't a superly over impressive fight, but he definitely dominated the entire fight and won a unanimous decision by all three judges. Kopylov didn't really have much damage for him, and I really think that was the difference maker in this fight. It's not that he couldn't land, it's just he couldn't land with power while Rodriguez was landing pretty much everything with power, even if it was blocked. So, impressive win by Rodriguez. I think that's going to catapult him into a great opportunity here in the near future as well. Moving into our final fight of the night, and everybody knows I was kind of stoked about this one. I'm a Bo Nickel guy, I'll admit it. But what we need to do here is we need to talk about Bo Nickel wrestling. Yes, we like to see it. Now, he only did a little bit of wrestling, but nevertheless, he did go back to the roots. He did talk about that's what he needed to do, and it was really nice to see. Immediately, round one, waits for a good distance, gets the takedown, moves right into some nice ground and pound. There was some scramble. There was a standing guillotine at one point. Nickel was doing a little bit of everything, but he really dominated round one. He came out with a spark and a fire, and I think he had something to prove, and he definitely proved it with some wrestling. Now, what I was talking about in the initial fight breakdown is the way the hands start coming down after a round one like that when somebody gets an easy takedown. So that's why I think in round two, Nickel transitioned into some more striking because he saw those hands come down because Vieira was really fearing the takedown from Nickel. What I did notice is that Vieira really had nothing for Nickel on the ground. That's a lot of times what happens, and what I talked about in the breakdown as well, is that with vicious ground and pound, you can't really activate a great Brazilian jiu-jitsu ground game when you're getting punched in the face repeatedly. So Bo Nickel was able to move directly into attacks after his takedown, and that kind of mitigated any of the jiu-jitsu Vieira had for him at that moment. And then Vieira, I think, realized that he couldn't get taken down like that, moving right into ground and pound. So that would be a problem for him in round two. Thus, the hands came higher, or the hands came lower. Bo Nickel started unleashing some nice clips with the feet, and then I want to say it was round three. Yeah, it was round three. Bo Nickel lands a tremendous head kick, kaboom, clean to the head, knockout. Vieira never saw it coming. He was sleep. It was an absolutely amazing, probably knockout of the night. I'm going to give him knockout of the night. I want that one. That was super killer. The only thing that I worry about with Bo Nickel after something like that is, and DC was talking about, it's the KO effect. And now everybody you want to KO. And I really think he should stick to the grappling. Anyway, that was the breakdown of the prelims from UFC 322. The main card's coming next.